So this is unit number 2 in operating system, lecture number 13. So one of the important topic in this unit is the deadlocks. How the deadlock will take place. Now you can see when such type of condition will occur. There are few examples, and here you can see this is the fact. One of the example is it takes money to make money. Okay. So suppose if we want to earn more money, then there is a need of money. And this is one of the fact. Similarly, second example, you can see, just I am giving you such type of examples in the context of the deadlocks. So second example, you can see here, you can't get a job without experience. Okay. You can't get experience without a job. This is also one of the fact, because whenever you will go in the market to get the job, then mostly they will ask that, okay, you have passed your degree or the diploma, then let me know about the experience. Okay, do you have the experience regarding this job? Have you already done the job related to this uh, programming or something else? Okay, but it is very difficult to get the job on the behalf of the experience. So here we can see the vice versa is also true. How will you get the experience? If you will get the job, if you will get the job, then you can enhance your experience. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Okay. So here we can see the background, the cause of the deadlock, how the deadlock will take place. So each process needing what another process has. Okay. So again, the same situation here. We have a number of processes and also number of resources. Whenever we have less number of resources, but more number of processes are going on, okay, under the execution, then how those processes will share the different resources. So main thing is this, okay, if we have less number of resources, then such type of situation may occur. So the cause of deadlock, each process needing what another process has. So each process want to allocate a number of resources. Okay, suppose we are going to run any process, then there is a requirement for the processor, requirement of the memory, and requirement for the IO devices. So more number of resources we need to run a process. But if there are several number of processes are running, then such type of situation may occur. So there is a fight among the processes for the allocation purpose of resources. So this results from sharing resources such as memory devices, etc. Under normal operation, here you can see a resource allocation proceed like this. So what is the criteria? Now we can see here, request a resource. So first, the operating system will send a request, will send a signal for what? Just the process will request for a resource. Okay. If it is free, the resource is free, then the particular resource will be occupied by a process. Otherwise, suspend until available if necessary. Okay. The resource will suspend it that we are already engaged. So this is the procedure. Second, the request will come for a resource. Second is the use the resource. So first, the operating system will send a request. After that, we will allocate that resource, or we can say here after allocation, then if another process is requesting for the same resource, then there must be release that resource. Okay. So after the use of that particular resource, the process will release the resource. So under normal operation, we can see here, these are the 3 points: request a resource, use the resource, release the resource. Now here you can see it is a sort of bridge here. Now there are a number of cars, or you can say the vehicles are coming, and you can see here going. So the situation due to the more number of vehicles, so situation may arise for the deadlock. So traffic only in one direction. Okay, if the traffic is only in one direction, each section of a bridge can be viewed as a resource. So here the section will act as a resource, because here the vehicles will occupy some space. Okay, if the vehicles going in one direction here, if there is no one-way system, then how we will tackle? So each section will act as a resource, means the space required to go, or here to pass over this flyover, or we can say the bridge. Several cars may have to be backed up. So such type of situation may arise. Here you can see that how we will tackle this situation. Then several cars may have to be backed up, means will return again, so that we will try to avoid the situation, or otherwise the deadlock may occur. If a deadlock occurs, so if a deadlock occurs, then how we will avoid that? We will turn back. Okay, return back. Then starvation is possible. Here just we are using this word starvation for the number of resources. If there is no space here, then such type of situation may occur. Okay. Now there are 4 conditions. These are the necessary conditions. Here we can see all of these 4 must happen simultaneously. So if these conditions you can see here happening simultaneously for a deadlock to occur, so then there is a chance for the deadlock, and these are the conditions. So what are those? First is the mutual exclusion, means one or more than one resource. Okay, here just there is a game of the resource and the processes. So there is a one-to-one relation here between the resource and the process. If we have more number of resources, then such type of problem will not come. Okay, or otherwise, if we are in sharing mode, if number of processes are executing, and as per requirement, the number of resources are less, or we can say those resources shared by a number of processes, then such situation may occur. Here we can see one or more than one resource must be held by a process. Okay, so a process may use more than one resource in a non-shareable mode, means we are not sharing the resource. that is called the exclusive mode. Okay, sometimes we have more number of resources, so it is not shared by another process. If there are more number of processes are executing, so mutual exclusion means exclusive mode, non-shareable mode, we can say. Okay, so one or more than one resource must be held by a process in a non-shareable mode. So these are the conditions. Second is the hold and wait. A process holds a resource. Okay, a process is using continuously one resource. Okay, while waiting for another resource, means the process is not releasing the preceding resource but waiting for another resource. Okay, so whenever another resource will be allocated by the same process, after that, that process will release the previous resource. Okay, so in such condition, the deadlock may occur. So hold and wait, a process holds a resource. Okay, permanently holding a resource and waiting for another resource. So the situation may occur for the deadlock. Third, no preemption. There is only one voluntary release of resource. Okay, nobody else can make a process give up a resource. So here, no any process is ready to release the resource. So such situation is called the no preemption condition. So here in this case, there is no any such process which is ready to give up a resource. Okay, don't want to leave any resource. So no resource is free. Circular and wait, process A waits for process B and process B waits for process C and so on. So completely dependency. Here you can see. So again here in this condition we can say the resources are not free because here all processes depending on each other, and this is the circular wait condition. So in circular wait condition, such type of situation may occur, means deadlocks may occur. So these are the four necessary conditions. So all of these four must happen simultaneously for a deadlock to occur. So if all these happen simultaneously, then the deadlock will occur. Okay. So first is the mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, circular wait. So in such situation, in under such conditions, the deadlock will occur. Now here we can represent mathematically deadlock to determine if deadlock has or may occur. Okay, then how we will represent? We will draw a graph, and in that, how we will draw the graph with the help of the nodes and edges. Okay, so here we are going to represent by G. So G for graph, V nodes and E edges here. So connectivity among the nodes, that the links. So that links is called the edges. Okay, in a graph. And V, these are the number of nodes. So how we will indicate the nodes consist of processes. So the nodes are nothing but the number of processes P1, P2, P3 and so on. Okay, you can give the name to them as P1, P2, P3 and so on, and these are called the nodes. Okay, so nodes represent the processes, and resource type, here you can see R1, R2, these are the different resources and so on, R1, R2, R3. Okay, E, capital E, here you can see edges. So edges you can represent Pi to Rj. So Pi, here I is the index, P1, P2, P3 and so on up to Pn, okay, or Pi, you can change the value of I, and Rj, another variable here, J, and this is representing, you can increase the value of J as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, integer value here, okay. So you are representing R1 to Rj means number of resources, Pi, P12 and so on up to Pi, the number of processes. So ages means the links between the process and the resource. Okay. So Pi to Rj, it is representing the age here, the ages. Okay. Pi to Rj, or we can also write here Ri comma Pj. So we can represent either in this form or in this form. Okay, so this is the way to represent the number of ages, and the nodes representing here number of processes and resources as R1, R2 and so on. So this will act as a graph. So how we will draw the graph? Now here you can see an arrow from process to resource. An arrow from process to resource here. You can see, please concentrate here. Process to resource. Now here you can see, just we are going to represent here as a symbol. It is in the rectangular form. Okay. And these are the different resources we can see. These are the dots. Okay. Dots inside this square. So this is the square, and process, it is a circle. So we are representing the process by a circle and by a square representing the resource. So an arrow from process to resource indicates the process is requesting the resource. Okay. So here you can see in this diagram, this is the circular symbol. Pi means process. This is the square and these are the dots. This is representing resource. Now this has the connectivity or how the data is flowing process to resource. Okay, this is indicating now process is requesting the resource. Here the process is requesting the resource. Okay. Now in this case, another diagram, you can see an arrow from resource to process. Okay. This is the symbol for resource Rj, and this is Pi, just the general form we are using, generalization Pi. Now you can see here the arrowhead is towards the Pi, means an arrow from resource to process shows an example of the resource has been allocated to this process. Okay, means resource has been allocated to this process, or here the process is requesting the resource. I hope you can here understand. So process is a circle, process type is a, here resource type is a square. So this is the resource type. Dots represent number of instances of resource in a type. So these are the resource, here square, and these are the representing dots representing the number of instances of resource in type. Okay, so here we can represent, there are 4 dots here, 4 dots, 4 dots, sometimes it may have 2 dots, means we have the resource type, we have the 2 devices, or here 4 devices. Requires here points to square, assignment comes from dot. Now in the next diagram, we can see here. Now if the graph contains no cycles, then no process is deadlocked. Okay. If we have the proper number of sufficient number of resources, okay, and total number of process, and these are also there are same number of resources, okay, so no problem will come, no deadlock will occur. So here we can see resource allocation graph. So just this is a graph here. Now these are the resources R1, R2, R3, R4. These are called the resources. Okay. So resources only here, resource type 1. Here example, one device. Here again one. Here two. Here three. Okay. Maybe four. So this is the process 1, process 2, process 3. No connectivity of this resource. Okay. So R4, just this is the nomenclature done by you. R4, another resource have three dots inside, means three devices. Okay. So any process may share from R4, but R4 have no any edges or the connectivity with any process. So this is not, R4 is not allocated or request by any process. So and no one process is requesting for R4. Okay. And similarly, R4 we can say is not allocated to any process because no connectivity. Here, here you can see R3 now allocated because this is the resource. Okay. And resource may be processor, memory, or IO device. Okay. Resources may be processor, memory, IO device. These are called the different resources. So R1 allocated to P2 means P2 is using this resource. P1 is requesting for R1. Okay. P1 is requesting for R1, but it is already allocated to P2. Similarly, you can see here R2. This is this resource allocated to P1 and also to P2 because this is in sharing mode. So share the resource R2 shared by P1 and also P2. Okay, but here no connectivity. R3 allocated to P3. Now here you can see R3 assigned to P3. Okay, R3 assigned to P3. P2 here request to R3. So P2 is sending request to R3, but it is already allocated. Then we can say it is suspended by this R3 resource. Okay, it will suspend this P2 process. Now we can concentrate here. If the graph contains no cycle, then no process is deadlocked. Okay. If there is a cycle, then if a resource type have multiple instances, so inside this, here we can see, then deadlock may exist. Now we can see another example. Then we can judge that whether it is in deadlock condition or not. So if each resource type has one instance, then deadlock has occurred. Okay, if each resource type has one instance, then deadlock has occurred. Now here in this condition, you can see resource allocation graph with a deadlock. So this is one of the example. Even though we have R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay. resources, but R4 have no connectivity. There is no any such type process which is requesting for the R4, but here we can see R1. So P1 is requesting for R1, but it is allocated by P2. Here P2 is also requesting for R3, but it is already allocated to P3, and this P1, P2 already here the R2 is allocated to P1 and P2, and P3 is again here requesting to R2. Okay, so this is here we can say in this example there is no any such type here because we have only two device here, 2 points here. Okay, and there is no any third point, so that we can allocate to P3. If we have third here device, we can say, then it may fulfill to P3. So it can accept the request of P3, but it this R2 will suspend this process. Okay, then it will come in the wait condition, and the process will stop here. And similarly, because P1 is requesting for R1, but this is already allocated to P2, but we must have one-to-one relation. Okay, one-to-one means if it is allocated to another process P1, and there must be no demand of P1. Okay, because R2 is already allocated to P1. So if it is not sending any signal for R1, okay, then the deadlock will not occur. Otherwise, if you can see here, there are several edges, and again the demand is going, again this sending demand, again this have the allocation, but again sending to demand this. So we can see in this system, everybody is sending to demand to each other. Okay, but again here we can see there is a allocation for each one, but everybody is sending demand for another. So in this diagram, we can say resource allocation graph with a deadlock. Here the resource is allocating, but everybody is demanding for other one. Even there is no connectivity with this one. Okay, so the situation here you can see for a deadlock. But in this case, here these are requesting, but there are four here devices. R1 have 2 points, R2 also have 2 points. Here P2 here you can see there is no any signal which is sending by P2 for another one. Okay, so this is free here, no connectivity with another one. Here P3, this have the allocation, R1 has allocation to the P3, but this is requesting R2. Here you can see P1, this is R2 is allocated to P1, but P1 is sending the information signal, sending signal to the R1 that I want your use, or I am waiting for this one. But here there is a way, and this is open. Okay, so it can handle all the situation. After completion of this will get free. Okay, as this will get free after this complete execution, then the R1 will allocate to P1. Okay, Similarly, here you can see also the open condition. This R2 allocated by P4, but P4 is not requesting for any other resource. So here also we can say there is a way, the open way. Okay. So we can say in this cycle, resource allocation graph with a cycle, but no deadlock. Here, why we cannot say there is no deadlock? Because P2 and P4, they are not sending any request for the allocation of other resources. Okay, have no any connectivity here. Even in this condition, we can see here, this is free, resource is free, but not used by anyone because no any request is coming toward this. So they are fighting to each other, but not concentrating to this. Nobody is sending any request to this one. Okay. So the situation, such type of situation of the deadlock here, it will come. But here you can see the resource are, you can see less, but they are used by each other, and this has the open area for the P2 and P4. So after completion of P2 and P4, this will get free and maybe allocated or fulfill the demand of P3. Okay. So here the open area, we can say the deadlock will not occur here. Now how to handle the deadlocks? So these are the general strategies or methodologies. So there are three methods. First, how we will ignore the deadlock. Okay. So ensure deadlock never occurs using either prevention. We can prevent the deadlock, prevent any one of the four conditions from happening. Okay. So we can see here, prevent any one of the four conditions from happening. So what are those conditions? We have already seen in the last slide here. These are the four conditions: mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, circular wait. Okay. So these are the necessary conditions. So we must avoid. Okay. Now come to this. Ensure deadlock never occurs using either here prevention. So first we will prevent the this type of situation, and we will take care of those four conditions from happening. Another point is avoid the deadlock. So how will we avoid the deadlock? Allow all deadlock conditions, but calculate cycles about to happen and stop dangerous operations. Okay. Then in this condition, how we can avoid the deadlock? So we will take care the situation, how the process, different process will allocate to the different resources. Okay. And if there are less number of resources, then the operating system will give or send the signal and handle the process, different processes in such a way that we can manage all the processes in a less number of resources. Okay. So if it is possible to avoid the deadlock, then we will try our best. Means the operating system will take care of this. So then how we will avoid? So there are number of deadlock avoidance algorithms. Okay. So those algorithms we will use, or the operating system will use to avoid such type of deadlock condition. Okay. Allow deadlock to happen. This requires using both. So allow deadlock to happen, detection, know a deadlock has occurred, So first we will see such type of condition, or we will detect that deadlock has occurred or not. Okay. Or if it is occurred, then how the recovery will take place, regain the resources. Okay. We want to free a number of resources so that that will be occupied by a number of other processes. So detection and recovery. Now here we can see, do not allow one of the four conditions. So we have already discussed those four conditions to avoid the deadlock. So first is the mutual exclusion. Automatically holds for IO devices. Okay. Automatically holds for printers and other non-shareables. Shared entities, read-only files, don't need mutual exclusion. Prevention not possible since some devices are intrinsically non-shareable. So here we can see we must avoid the mutual exclusion. Sometimes there are number of processes will go hand in hand. There are number of users working together. Okay, sending the signal, or the we can say the request to print any, we can say the file or the number of pages, then the same print request may be sent by a number of users. Then how we will avoid the situation? The operating system will print the request one by one. Okay, even though number of users are sending the same signal to the single device, if there is a more number of such type of devices, means they are connected in shareable mode, then the deadlock may be avoided. Or if there are less number of resources, we can say here the IO device, just we are talking, then if there are less number of IO device, then such type of problem may arise. So we will take care of such situations and try to avoid those. Mutual exclusion, hold and wait. Hold and wait, here we can see the condition, collect all the resources before execution. So we must have the list of all those resources. Okay, a particular resource can only be requested when no others are being held. So this, and utilization is low, starvation is possible. So hold and wait condition, we will take care of this. So because the time is going to finish, just I am taking your attendance first. Now this is the end, few seconds are left. Robin is coming now. Even no time to take the again attendance. Okay, now thank you. Thank you so much. Because the time is going to complete, only few seconds are left. Any question you can ask.